So when you're out musky fishing, there's a lot of different variables that come into play. I mean, one thing that's very important is, stay on top of your equipment. You can have the best rod and reel there is. Make sure, you always check your line and your leaders. I mean, that's the only thing that's going to connect you, to a fish. And you don't want to cheapen up on that, especially when you've spent hundreds of dollars on a rod and reel. Very important to have that, going along with proper release tools, hook sharpener, keeping your hooks sharp. That's all very important. Another thing that you want to try to do, and it can sometimes change daily, are patterns of what fish are doing. Are they using rocks? Are they using weeds? Some days you got to mix it up and go back and forth until you feel real confident where the fish are and what structures they're using. Another thing too is these days can get real long, and it's very easy to lose concentration and not watching what's going on. Your boat side maneuvers are very important. A lot of times, especially later in the summer, a lot of the fish bite right here at the boat. And as these lakes bloom up, sometimes they're harder to see, and you might have to do, monotonously 2 or 3 figure eights, because these fish can show up out of nowhere. And it always will happen when you pull that bait out of the water, thinking, well, nothing's going to happen, and that's when that fish shows up. Also, do some research on what type of lake you're looking for. Are you looking for action, or are you looking for one big fish? I mean, the DNR's database that Wisconsin has, shows stocking reports, shows creel surveys. You can get a pretty good idea on what's swimming around in the lake just by looking up data, that the DNR provides, and it's very easy to find. And the final thing that's the most important thing is your boat control. I mean, are you fishing the spots too shallow, too deep? With today's sonars and all the technology we have in mapping, it's pretty easy, but to really know the spots in and out and put your boat where it needs to be is probably the most important thing to success.